Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on mysterious and weird true stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 73, written by user badgeryellow. A Deja-Vu at play, but not all participants followed the script. This particular day, my sister had already had a Deja-Vu moment earlier, in the morning, but the second time that day, it got rather creepy. The two of us drove over to visit our grandmother and brought her some food. I was at the kitchen sink. My grandma and sister were chatting to each other at the other end of the kitchen. My sister stops mid-sentence and goes, "Oh." I immediately understood and think, again, geez, that's the second déjà vu for you today. I have a strong sense to say this out loud, but I actively stopped myself from speaking as to not interrupt my grandma, who was still chatting away. A little later, my sister comes up to me and says, with humor, "Why didn't you say it?" "Say what?" She said that in her déjà vu, I had spoken, and she repeated to me the exact words I had previously thought, but didn't say out loud. I told her this, and said that I had decided not to say anything at the last minute. We both thought this was extremely weird, and she commented on how it was like I actively decided not to follow the script of her déjà vu. Case notes, file number 73. So then, in a nutshell, your sister saw the events play out and then return to normal. This is like the Nicolas Cage movie Next, although without the ability to control it. All I can say to that is, cool. Hopefully she thinks so too. I know some people can be creeped out by this ability, or phenomena. The author responded to my brief comment saying, "Yes. She tells me she gets déjà vu like a lot. Sometimes people would do the things she saw in her déjà vu, and sometimes they wouldn't. I don't think she was expecting me to participate, I guess would be the word. But for me, in my point of view of the event, it was kind of creepy." Case file number 74, written by user permafriedrice. They moved into a new apartment. They weren't alone. About 3 years ago, my mom and I were living in a one-bedroom apartment. We didn't have any money, and it was the only place we could afford. It was a super old Victorian home in Tacoma, Washington, that had been sectioned off into 4 different little apartments. Since I was a kid, I've always been super sensitive to energy. Whether it's people or a place, if there's some type of negativity, I can sense it. When we first moved in there, I felt weird. I wouldn't say that I felt anything evil there, but the place felt off. A couple months in, I went to spend the night at my boyfriend's place, which wasn't something I did often. About 9:30, I got a call from my mom. Mind you, at the time, she was 63. I picked up and could immediately tell she was upset. She asked me if I was with my boyfriend and if I was alright. I told her yes, I'm perfectly fine. She then explained to me that she'd gone to lay down to go to sleep when she heard my voice yell her name. At first, I doubted if she just had a bad dream, but she was sure she hadn't even been laying down for more than a minute, still wide awake, and then it was like I was right in the doorway yelling, "Mama!" We both tried to forget about it, but my mom was convinced something was there in our apartment that was trying to scare her. A week later, she'd purchased some Palo Santos to try cleansing the apartment. She again did this while I was out, but she called me scared, begging me to come home. When I got back, she explained she'd done the usual, starting from the front door, going through the living room to the bed and bath, then the kitchen, working her way front to back. She said as she came to walk back into the living room, where we had this little table and chairs, her chair was pulled out from the table, tilted back, balancing on its back legs. I tried reassuring her, telling her we would start to look for a new place, but it wasn't going to happen fast enough because of our money problems. About a month after that, I was on the couch while she was cutting vegetables for dinner, and I heard her scream. I ran into the kitchen, and she said she had placed the knife down on the cutting board, turned around to the sink to grab another vegetable, and when she turned back, the knife was gone. She said she turned back to the sink and was checking the counters, but it wasn't there. So she opened up the drawer to get another knife, and when she turned back to the cutting board, it was there again. We left the next day to stay with a friend for a while, but this was the most scared I'd ever seen my mom. I know it wasn't because she was losing it or just getting old. She's still very lucid. I still believe if we had stayed there, something bad would have happened to her. Case notes, file number 74. I'm typically more on the optimist side when it comes to ghosts, spirits, and so forth. But the fact that this entity, whatever it was, took the knife for a brief moment, to me that does signify that there was intent to harm your mother, or at least scare her. Not necessarily out of pure malice though, more like a warning, defending against an invader type mindset. That's the vibe I get. Maybe that old Victorian place, the apartment you were occupying, was very important to whatever was still there. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, and feel free to watch more on my channel. I have a lot more content.